Welcome back. You're listening to the discussion, How the House is Modernizing its Human Capital Programs, sponsored by Cornerstone on Federal News Network. I'm your host, Jason Miller. My guests today are John Salamone, the Chief Human Resources Officer in the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer for the U.S. House of Representatives, and Richard Capetto, the Chief Customer Officer, also in the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer for the U.S. House of Representatives. Before break, we're talking a fair amount about the technology behind it, the upgrades, how you guys moved really off manual processes. You really just improved all the pieces and parts. John, I want to bring you back into this because you also mentioned the House Modernization Committee and some of the resolutions they've passed and the recommendations they've passed that say, hey, here's your next thing you need to do. How has the technology upgrades that you've put in place over the last couple of years really set the stage for some of the things that the Modernization Committee is recommending?
Great question, Jason. So just by way of quick background, through the resolution, there were 6 requirements that the Modernization Committee asked the CAO to stand up in the Central HR program. So one is developing a central repository of best practices. Second is improving ability to recruit diverse candidates. Third is looking at employee benefits and developing some recommendations for enhancements. And then the fourth is conducting a biennial staff survey and developing an exit survey. The fifth one is looking at improving the House resume portal. And then the last one is providing members elect with information on the full range of services. So kind of marketing and communications. I think our technology that we've deployed can help in 2 of those areas in particular. So one, improving diversity recruitment. And in this, I would envision that the Central HR Hub would work very, very closely with the new House Office of Diversity and Inclusion to identify candidate sources where we can make sure that we are reaching more diverse affinity groups through job posting sites. So through the CAO organization and with the applicant tracking system, we're working with an organization called the Professional Diversity Network, and they, in their umbrella, have several affinity group job sites. So we're now able to track how those applications are coming in when we post all of our jobs there. I think that is something that we could explore as we're standing up the HR Hub and then using the technology, the applicant tracking system technology, to see how well we're improving diversity recruitment as one area. The other area is the improving the House resume portal. So we right now, through the CAO organization, will post jobs for members if they would like us to do so. And we do that from time to time, but we're still using some outdated technology. And now that we have the advent of the applicant tracking system, really think that this system is scalable and will give us better use of modernized business practices and technology to help members post jobs through our services, capture and collect resumes, be able to track where those resumes are coming from, be able to screen out candidates. So let's just say we're going to advertise for a chief of staff job. We could ask some screen out questions that would weed out applicants, because sometimes when you find somebody applying for a chief of staff job, they may be an intern and have aspirations to be a chief of staff, but certainly are not in a position to take on that level of responsibility. So I think the technology will help us screen out some of those candidates and be able to provide resumes that are much more tailored to the job specific requirements that the members need. Now, obviously, a lot of these are notional, but certainly something that I view the use of technology and the applicant tracking system that we have as a real opportunity and service that can be deployed for 435 members or any subset that would care to use the services.
One of the things about the technology foundation as well is it also gives you that, okay, well, where can we go in the future? Have you guys started to have that conversation? I know it feels like we just got this implemented and we're just started to really win the benefits. But when you look next, 3, 5, 7 years, do you guys have that as the strategy include where you'd like to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really evolving with that right now for the CAO organization. The first step was just let's just see if this works, right? We've done the testing, and we've been able to get jobs posted. And just last week, as I said, I was having a conversation with my team about how long it's taking us to hire applicants for positions in the CAO organization, and I know end-to-end hiring. Now, what I want to be able to do is see, can we count discrete steps in the hiring process and how long that's taking? So I think what we're trying to do is learn the technology, learn the capabilities of the technology, continue to evolve and grow and leverage that technology in a way that makes sense, not only for the CAO organization, but if we deploy this for member offices, making sure that we can articulate to them, not only can we post jobs for you, but here are the metrics that we can capture for you. Here are the reports that we can provide to you. Here's the information that the system can provide. And I'm going to use an example, again, completely and totally hypothetical, but let's say we post a job for a member and the member wants to know how many resumes came in from their district. That may be a screen out factor. And certainly, I think the system has that capability. And those are the types of things that we would be looking for as we build out the requirements of the HR hub. So I think, start small, offer a service, and figure out how to grow it. Certainly, we're putting some thought into that, and we'll be following the model that we've established for the CAO organization.
Yeah, Jason, this is Rich. I'll just jump in. What we really aimed at doing when we launched our learning management system was to make it easier for staff to take training and professional development. And we've accomplished that. So we have seen the uptick in registration for class. We've seen the number of hours that we're spending and an amount of volume of calls that we're taking on support questions of, where do I get the training? How do I log in? Where do I sign up for training? The time we were spending doing that has gone down, and then the number of people signing up for training and actually attending. We used to have a very bad conversion rate where we'd get a lot of signups and not a lot of people attend. So we've seen increases across the board. And what we're hoping for the future now is to continue in that direction, because as we've mentioned, nothing we do is mandatory. Aside from and the numbers I was referencing are all for our non-required training. So we have to appeal to our customer and make it something they want to do and see a value in doing, and make it easy for them to do. And so in the future, there's some features that we haven't even turned on yet for the LMS. There's some social aspects where we can have chat boards and communities of interest where people can post best practices and ask questions and things like that. We haven't turned that on, but we're hoping in the future that we can do something like a moderated channel. We also are hoping to leverage the LMS to introduce cohort learning, where we take a group of people and bring them through a curriculum together, because we've observed that the learning that takes place with the same group of people going through a set of training is just more dynamic and better. So we haven't been able to do those things in the past, and hopefully that's stuff we would like to do moving forward with the help of the LMS.
It's interesting you bring up this idea of the number of hours people are spending, the conversion rate is better. Can you look at over the last 6 months or so during the pandemic, as more people have worked from home, are you seeing more people interested in training now? Are you seeing more people saying, I could take an hour, I could take 30 minutes, I could take whatever it is and attend a class, or I can even just look at what's offering to me and then maybe come back a week from now, 2 weeks from now? Are you seeing that more?
Yeah, we are. We're seeing a lot more attendance at training. Everything now is online. So in addition to the LMS, at the same time, we also brought on board and upgraded a couple other technologies for being able to do distance learning, and we have some on-demand training as well. So we've made that more accessible, which is a great benefit, not just because of COVID, but as John mentioned before, we have a large customer base that's not in Washington, D.C. Well, there's over 900 district offices across the country in every state and territory. And so now that professional development that was in the classroom in DC can be accessed by all those district staffers. So we've seen an increase based on the data that we get from attendance and what times are popular for people to attend training, what days of the week. We've been able to offer, we've been able to be more efficient with the use of our resources and offer those things that people want to take when they want to take them. And yeah, we've seen an increase during the remote work.
I think, the conversion rate is really an interesting metric. And I think the technology has played a significant role in that. I would also venture to guess that it's the quality of the products and services that Rich and his team are delivering to the member offices that is also helping to drive up the conversion rates. And I think COVID helps. I also think the variety of trainings that are provided through through Rich's team and the Congressional Staff Academy. I mean, I'll show, I mentioned the OEA, the Office of Employee Assistance and the Wellness Center, House Wellness Center are on my team, but they partner with Rich and his team to provide mindfulness training for house staff, wellness training for house staff. And I think those are offerings that we really weren't providing to the greatest extent possible a couple of years ago. And I think there's a real need for that type of training for the house community and the house workforce. And, we're very fortunate to have the support from the leadership to continue to provide these services and expand those services. And I think, Rich is, again, masterful at managing the technology, but also his team providing training that the community needs and wants and will be a tremendous benefit, not only here, but across the entire country.
Thanks, John. This is Rich again. Yeah, our Staff Academy team, and it's a small one, they've done amazing work. One of the first things they did was put out a needs assessment and did a detailed needs assessment to the entire house community with surveys, focus groups, and job shadowing to understand what were the parts of working in a member office that people wanted to get better at, and what were the skills that we could help improve. And that has led to the courses that we develop. And so we do hope and we think that we're providing good content, but the partnerships have also really been important with John's Office of Employee Assistance and the Wellness Center, and then we've had other legislative branch partners as well that offer training. We can now present that in one place to go sign up for training. So where they may have been sign up in different locations on a different website, we funnel everyone now and are continuing to work with other organizations to try and leverage our platform, that if there's training available, this is where people are going to go to look for it and get that all on one site. So those and that helps. We leverage that because we are a small team, and so these other offices have a lot to offer that's relevant to member offices, and by making it available to them and easy to find and easy to access, members are getting the stuff that they need, and it's not only from the Staff Academy.
It's good news, obviously, all the way around, just to see the metrics and the statistics to show that people are using it. They're spending more time with it. Gentlemen, this has been a fascinating conversation. We're just about out of time. So I'm going to ask each of you to give me about less than 30 seconds. From your experiences over the last couple of years, what's the one piece of advice? What's the one big pothole? What's the one thing you would leave our audience with? Stay out of, watch out for, be smart about, however you want to term it. Rich, you want to tell us first?
Yeah, thanks. Jason. In a word, don't go it alone. We wouldn't have been able to do any of this without partnering with our technology department, with John, with our other training providers, and of course with our customers, the member offices. So and leverage those partnerships. So we were able to identify a solution that worked for both of our needs, and that has really made it a success.
All right, John, one word.
Do the doable. That's more than one word, but I will say, put a plan together, make sure that you have short, medium, long range activities that you want to hit those milestones, but don't bite off more than you can chew. A plan can help. And if you execute that plan, like Rich said, with the right partners, and you've done your due diligence, you're going to do great stuff. So do the doable.
You remind me a little bit of the old. You brought up the Bush administration earlier. Mark Foreman. Don't try to eat the apple in one bite. Don't try to drink the ocean in one swallow. John, Rich, this has been a fascinating conversation. I really enjoyed our discussion, but unfortunately, we are out of time. So let me thank my guests. John Salamone is the Chief Human Resources Officer in the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer for the U.S. House of Representatives. John, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And Richard Capetto is the Chief Customer Officer, also in the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer in the U.S. House of Representatives. Rich, thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you.
I'm Jason Miller, and you've been listening to the discussion, How the House is Modernizing its Human Capital Programs, sponsored by Cornerstone on Federal News Network. For more on this discussion, visit federalnewsnetwork.com and search Cornerstone.